baby is a big boy and he is gangly, like me. I'm not a big boy, but I'm gangly. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another pregnancy update. I say it every time, but it's already time for another. Today's video is my 19 to 20 week update. So if you want to find out how these weeks have gone for me, we had a pretty exciting thing happen in week 19, then just keep watching. I thought I'd bring back out my Preggers t-shirt, which if you've been following my whole pregnancy journey, I wore in my very first pregnancy update. So like I said, today's video is weeks 19 and 20. As I always do, I'll just start this video with a few stats on the baby's growth. So week 19, the baby was the size of a mango at 5.98 inches, so we'll say 6 inches, and 8.5 ounces. And then in week 20, it grew to the size of a banana at 6.5 inches, so it grew a half an inch. Oh no, I just accidentally swiped forward and saw week 21, and Ben and I have a tradition that every Sunday night we look at the app to see what the next week is because my weeks roll over on Mondays, and we always like to guess the size, and I just saw it. Anyways, oops. So the baby grew a half an inch, and it is in week 20, 10 ounces. So it grew an ounce and a half. So as of week 20, the baby has working taste buds. It's gulping down several ounces of amniotic fluid each day. And I've officially reached the halfway mark, which, holy cannoli, we are halfway, we're halfway. So let's jump into talking about weeks 19 and 20. I normally start with symptoms, but I am too excited because I want to talk about my doctor's appointment. If you guys are subscribed, then you know that we released our gender reveal video. So we found out in week 19 that we were having a boy. So all of my guesses were totally correct. I thought it was a boy the whole time. Our gender predictions video predicted boy. Pretty much all of our family members thought it was a boy, and it's a boy. So we went in for our anatomy scan at 19 weeks and 2 days. And that appointment was amazing. It's like, blows my mind, just wait if you've never done it, how many things they look at and they can measure. They literally measured everything. They could rule out all kinds of conditions. They could make sure that like the brain had certain parts that it needed to have, make sure that the heart had all the valves, make sure the kidneys were working. Like they were able to put color onto the ultrasound so that to make sure that like things were flowing properly. It was insane. And so we got to see literally every inch of baby pretty much besides his face, because he was head down, birth position super low, and did not want to show his face at all. So unfortunately we didn't get very many pictures of his face, but they were still able to get all the measurements they need, and they said that he was 110% healthy. Everything looked absolutely perfect. The ultrasound tech even said, she was like, I would be stoked if this was my baby. Like everything's perfect. So that was very, very reassuring. And of course, at that appointment, we found out the gender, and it was fun because she was like, okay, are you guys ready? And we're like, yeah. She said it immediately. Like I didn't even have time to process, like, okay, we're gonna find out the gender. She's like, are you guys ready? Yeah, it's a boy. And she was like, there is no doubt about it. That's a boy. Like it was very clear. I don't want to post the picture because I feel like that's kind of weird. I don't know. Very clearly, no doubt about it, a boy. And I have to say, like, everybody's different, and like if you didn't do it this way, totally fine. I'm not judging other people's experiences, but for us, I'm really glad that we waited to find out the gender at the ultrasound, because it was just so fun to have that moment with the anticipation and then to see it with our baby, like right there, actually see what his gender was. It was just such a surprise, and like, I don't know, I just can't explain it. It was really fun, and I feel like I wouldn't have had that same feeling had we done like one of those sneak peek tests or something where you just get the gender like on paper. Ben and I both were like really glad that we waited to do it at the ultrasound, because it was just like such a fun experience for us to have together. So baby boy is a very healthy. Oh, this too. He's big. He is at that appointment, so I was 19 weeks and 2 days. He was measuring a week ahead at 11 ounces, which the app says a week ahead would have been 10.5, and he was 11 ounces. So he's big. at this point, I did have a midwife appointment actually the next day, and she said, don't look into it too much. Like, the babies fluctuate. Sometimes they just have growth spurts. Like, it's really too early to tell. She keeps saying, like, you're due in June. Just say June. We don't know exactly when. But as of now, he's measuring a week ahead, and he has really long limbs like me. I'm like all limbs. So yeah, baby is a big boy, and he is gangly like me. I'm not a big boy, but I'm gangly. All of our families were super excited it was a boy. You'll have to watch the gender reveal to see, because everyone just thought it was, so having it actually be a boy was really fun for them, aside from my niece Taylor, who, it didn't show this on the video, but she was pretty much devastated that it was a boy. But I think she'll grow to love him, I hope. Baby boy does have a name, but I'm not going to release it just yet. We're telling our friends and family and stuff, but I'm gonna keep it quiet from the internet world. I haven't fully determined whether I want to wait until birth. If we don't wait until he's born, it's gonna be closer to his due date that we release it. So you guys will just have to wait for that. But he does have a name, and I feel like it suits him just perfectly. So, on to some symptoms. This video is probably gonna be kind of a long one. On to symptoms. I haven't had a ton of new ones in the past 2 weeks. One, which is kind of TMI, which this is definitely a new one, is just gas and indigestion in general has certainly kicked it up a notch. I had my first bout of heartburn for a couple days, nothing really bad, but it's the first time I've had it during pregnancy. I've just overall felt more indigestion, and then gas pain has been one that was like, oh my God. I had the few days where it was like the worst gas pain I have ever felt. Like, it hurt so bad that now I understand why babies cry when they're gassy. It was so painful, and like the only way I would feel better is if I was laying down, or if I was standing up, I had to like crouch over. Like, it just hurt so bad to stand upright. It was crazy. Oh my God, it was so bad. And so that's something that's definitely new and not very fun. I've been feeling lots and lots of movements now all the time pretty much, because he's getting bigger, rolling, kicking, I don't even know what. I actually have been able to see some movements, like see them from the outside now, because they're getting so much stronger. I'm definitely being kept up a bit at night. Sometimes he seems to be really active at bedtime, and then also like in the middle of the night. So hopefully that's not an indication of how he's gonna be when he's here. Another symptom I have had in the last few weeks, that's not new, but definitely like majorly kicked up a notch the last few weeks, is anxiety. So I've mentioned in videos here and there, just kind of touched on it briefly, that I'm someone who deals with anxiety. I've never gone in depth about it. It's kind of typical for me this time of year to have a spike in my anxiety, because I'm definitely one that like prefers spring, summer, warm weather, more sunlight. Like this time of year, after a few months of like it getting dark so early and cold weather, it definitely always spikes my anxiety, which I think is kind of normal for people who have anxiety. But it was like taken to a whole nother level because of pregnancy hormones. And I did talk to my midwife about it, and she said that it is definitely normal to see around this time of pregnancy, because hormones are going kind of crazy. Things are starting to get more real. We found out the gender, and that she typically does see a spike in anxiety around this time, and that anxiety / depression is super, super common in pregnancy. Actually, up to 25% of women have one or the other or both, and a lot of the times it is women who already have anxiety like me, but sometimes women will experience it during pregnancy who've never had anxiety at all, just because everything in your body is just like it's going through so many changes. So I can definitely make a more in-depth video about anxiety if you guys would be interested. I'm very open about mental health, and like that I have anxiety, that I struggle with it. I would have no problem making a video about it, and like my general anxiety, and then how it's like translated into pregnancy. I'm feeling a lot better now this week, and I found that for me, this is something that took me a really long time to learn about my anxiety, but it's that acknowledging it and talking about it is so helpful. And so I really dug deep into like what was making me so panicky and talked to Ben about it and like really vocalized what I was feeling, and it really helped me feel better. So I have no problem talking about that with you guys if you'd be interested in like my anxiety story and then how it's translated into pregnancy and then like what I'm doing to cope with it. But I am feeling a lot better now. But there was a couple weeks where I was just like, oh my God, I am just so not only anxious all the time, like just in general, which isn't really normal for me. I'm more of, my anxiety is like triggers. I don't have a ton of day-to-day anxiety, but my day-to-day anxiety was like way higher. And then I was realizing I know my triggers well, and I was realizing that the things that trigger me, like I was being triggered much more easily now that I'm pregnant than I normally would be. So that's been a new symptom in the last few weeks. Like I said, I'm feeling a lot better now that I've like acknowledged what was going on, but it's definitely something that I'm going to have to keep an eye on throughout my pregnancy and after my pregnancy too. I just have to stay on top of it. So like I said, if you'd be interested in that, I've never made a video on it because I don't know if anyone has an interest in it, but I'm open about talking about it. I think it's really important to talk about mental health. So I don't think I have had many other new symptoms. Hunger, oh my God. Hunger. I'm so hungry now all the time. I'm eating all day. And it's been nice to like really have my appetite back. My nausea is pretty much gone. I still get it here and there, sometimes at night now, every once in a while, but for the most part it's gone, and I definitely have my appetite back. I still don't have it back like in the sense that there's a lot of foods that I still don't like or don't want. There's a lot of things that still don't sound good, but I definitely have my appetite back for things that do sound good. And then I think that's actually it for all of my symptoms. After finding out the gender, I did start a registry, so I'm feeling a little bit less anxious about that, because that was one thing I was feeling very anxious about, was just overwhelmed. I've started kind of planning out his nursery, and I've started talking with my mom about the baby shower. Like everything is definitely starting to happen, and it's so crazy. I'm getting very excited. I'm still not quite ready for him to be here just yet. We have plenty of time for me to get ready. I am really enjoying this stage of pregnancy. Like I've said before, I haven't loved every single part of pregnancy, but this part, I'm really loving having a bump. I'm really loving feeling the movements, except for when it's in the middle of the night. And so I'm trying to just like really soak in this part of pregnancy, because I know that these are things that I'm gonna miss someday. Okay, so I'll stop rambling. This one has been way too long. I'll show you guys my bump. I definitely think I've had a little bit of a growth spurt here in the last couple of weeks. And then that'll be it. So make sure you like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to check out the gender reveal if you haven't seen it yet. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can follow me on the rest of my journey with my little boy. I'm a boy mom. Never thought I would be a boy mom, ever. I didn't. Until I got pregnant, I never pictured my life having boys. I always thought I'd be a girl mom, but here I am, a boy mom, and I feel like I'm meant to be a boy mom. So make sure you subscribe to follow me on the rest of my journey with my little boy, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! Okay, here's with the shirt. It's popped out a bit. Like, I look pregnant. He's definitely a big boy in there. My belly button is about to pop out. Like, it's flat. It's bigger. Okay, so my app apparently had an update and has completely changed. There we go. I couldn't figure it out. So right now,
I did it again, bro. I did it again. I'm gonna show you what just happened.
excuse me! Ben is playing video games with his brother. Like, I asked